Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So, there's been yet another protest. There seems to be a protest in this country every single day now, it seems, right? This time, it's because people have actually found out there's a certain hotel being used to house asylum seekers. Obviously, given the nature of reactions towards people that are asylum seekers, you can expect some form of disagreement and protest. Well, that's what we have now. And obviously, it has made the headline news, and the media is already capitalizing on it. But before we jump right into today's video, if you're new around to this channel, it will be massively appreciated if you subscribe and also drop a like on the video. Let's get right into it.
Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We have got the former Vice Chairman of the Tory Party, Jonathan Gullis, businessman and activist Adam Brooks, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Thank you very much. Jonathan, I'll start with you. The scenes at that Britannia hotel, firstly, we were told it didn't exist, that it was not going to be used for migrants. Then it turns out it is. So there appears to be some level of deception there.
Look, the British people are sick of being treated like mugs. And as you say, it was abundantly clear what this hotel was going to be used for. Another Britannia hotel chain like the one we had in Stoke-on-Trent, where women who were fleeing domestic violence were turfed out to instead house illegal migrants directly opposite a railway station that has on average 6 million people go through it each and every year, the gateway to our city as a tourist destination. On top of that, we've also got the ugly reality that people are going to be getting 3 meals a day. They're going to be having a nice, safe roof over their head, and obviously dentist access, GP support, and whatever else. And quite frankly, and rightly, the British people are sick to the back teeth of being treated in this manner. And I understand why there is widespread anger, because we came in under this Labour government with a big promise to smash the gangs. They're up by 50% in terms of small boats crossings, over 23,000 so far. We haven't even hit the peak of summer. God knows what it'll be like before the government comes back after recess. And ultimately, it's time to get tough, it's time to get radical, it's time to detain, it's time to deport, and it's time to look at alternative accommodation. And as I've said before, tents are a very good option, which we should put in fields somewhere.
All right.
To be fair, he does make good points. The Labour government did come in on a plan to smash the boats, smash the gangs, do everything to stop the illegal migrants. But that has been a total failure on the Labour side, and also with multiple promises that they've already also violated already. It's not really a surprise they can't even get this one done. But the problem is, it was only last week that on this channel they were discussing the idea that it is very important to let taxpayers know, to let the British people know how and where they're actually housing these asylum seekers, because it's fair. It should be something that the government does let people know, so they can actually be aware of where the money is going and how the actual government is actually spending the money to take care of asylum seekers. But now that people do know where the asylum seekers are, then they go and protest. They go and cause disruption. This is the reason why the government has an incentive to lie in the first place. Because if they tell you where they're housing illegal migrants, you go there and cause chaos. You go there and cause protest. That's why. This is the reason why. This is literally the rationale behind the reason why the government doesn't let people know. The reason why is because when they do know, there will be riots. That's why. This is the reason why. So when you complain about it, this is the reason why.
Adam, your thoughts on the Britannia hotel situation?
Look, it's another complete sellout of the poorest people in that area and the taxpayers. You know, that is luxury compared with what a lot of people in this country have to live by. People that cannot afford to give their kids a good breakfast, yet they're going to have a buffet 3 times a day. What I would do is urge the local shopkeepers around there to be very careful of theft, because local people around my area have told me how much shoplifting is going on from our local migrant hotel. And I would urge women and children to be more vigilant about their movements in that area of East London. There is no getting away from the link between behaviour from the people put in these hotels and what people are fearing. The country has had enough. Greece now is putting up the barricades. Greece I think they're detaining people now, Greece. Other countries are getting hard. Denmark, Sweden. People are leaving. Why are we getting more Why are we encouraging these people more when other countries can be more hardline?
There are also aspects of it, Nina, which I just find really disrespectful. There was a chap there that we showed you who had booked a room at that hotel. There was another clip as well that I saw from someone, I think it was from Hong Kong. They said, same thing, they were coming for a holiday and they've booked in there. They've done it through a travel company. They arrive and they're just told by security, no, we're shut. We're shut. And the staff at these hotels are very often laid off. We're not exactly sure about the staff at the Britannia, but we know that at other hotels they've just been sacked on the spot. So, I mean, that's very disrespectful to people, isn't it?
It is disrespectful to people and it shouldn't happen. But the reason why there is so much fuss there is because it's precisely because it's happened via social media. That the people from Epping were going to be shipped into the Britannia Hotel. That the Britannia Hotel, which charges 400 odd quid a room, was going to be used for that. Well, it's not going to be used for the people from the Epping Hotel. That's been made.
I corrected that earlier in the day yesterday.
Yeah, you did, but the thing is that was before, you know, what you said and other people. So that was just the usual sort of hysteria fired up by social media. Added to that, the government, I believe, has negotiated a rate, if they're going to be using it, of £81 a night.
Brilliant.
Well, no.
It could work out just for context, it could work out as £500,000 every fortnight. That because of the amount of rooms. Well,
it could do, but £81 instead of 400. So they've negotiated that, but they said it's not going to be Epping. The trouble with this whole situation, it is completely catastrophized and exacerbated. And the more hatred is poured, it's like pouring petrol on fire.
It's not hatred, it's fear.
It is. Well,
we fear, Nina. I speak for the majority. We are scared for our kids in this country.
That's rather arrogant of you to say you speak for the majority.
I do speak for the majority, Nina.
You do not know the majority.
If there was a national poll on stopping the boats, it would be 85%. If we had a referendum,
Adam,
which we should have.
That is your supposition. Not everybody thinks like you.
Get out
Not
of the real
everybody.
World,
I am in the real world. I've lived in the real world a lot longer than you, and I've seen a lot more than you. So let me tell you, this is not a situation that can be sorted by social media and people who believe that migrants are not people. May I point out? Look at humanity and compassion as opposed to aggression.
Okay.
One of the biggest arguments, right? Because a few days ago there was also a protest, riots, I would say, also in Epping, right? Because there was the situation where someone was accused of, I think, sexually assaulting a school child or something like that. At the end of the day, that obviously is bad. That has to be condemned. But this idea that these people are coming in this country and all they do is just committing crimes and the increasing the level of violence towards people already in this country, it just can't be true. Most people that commit crimes in this country, they already do live in this country. If you want to protect kids, you're not going to look at asylum seekers that make up less than 1% of the whole population. That argument is fine if you want to use it for some scenarios, but if you want to say we want to protect the children, so we don't want asylum seekers, it just doesn't seem to match, because these people are not the ones committing every crime in the book. It's just not the case.
Okay, all right. Well, Jonathan, I'll bring you in on this because there are a couple of things from that specific hotel that really stood out to me. So you've got a lady there who says that she's been on some kind of housing waiting list for the best part of 19 years, 4 kids, her whole life's been turned upside down. I mean, she actually used the phrase, I think, my life has been ruined. There was a bit of that where she said her daughter, because they had to move, her daughter was then sexually assaulted on the Elizabeth line, and then now is fearful of going outside. They can't get her some permanent accommodation.
And who was she assaulted by on the Elizabeth line? Do we know?
We don't know.
Well, exactly. So you're assuming that it's a migrant.
No, I'm not. What I am saying is that what she wants to be able to have now is her own place for her and her 4 children, so that they can feel safer. And she's not getting that. Whereas there is a hotel there where people are going to be able to get their accommodation, and it just feels like ordinary Brits are maybe at the back of the queue.
This idea that all these asylum seekers are living in these hotels, they just live in 5-star. I don't know, 5-star accommodation, you got buffet, you've got 3-course meal, you probably got no, it's just not the case. The conditions in these places is very, very uncomfortable, okay? Most of these people would rather just get the hell out of there and go get a job and actually work to actually pay for their own life. Most people, whatever it is that they're experiencing in that hotel, it's not a condition where they would rather live there and stay there rather than to go get a job and actually work. They wouldn't. I mean, they talk about it all the time, right? They usually say the asylum seekers, they actually go get a job, part-time jobs and all this stuff. The reason why they do this is because the condition they're living in these hotels is not good in the first place. That's why, if it was so amazing and so good, they wouldn't try to get a job being asylum seekers. They wouldn't do it. It's because it isn't that great. That's why they're doing it. The life of an asylum seeker being stuck in these hotels is not great. The way it's depicted by this media, it's just not the case. Okay, like genuinely, I feel like to actually understand, you need to actually stay there and actually realize how awful it can actually be.
There. It's two-tier Britain under two-tier care all over again. And Nina says we should be grateful it's only £81 a night.
I'm not saying grateful. I'm pointing out as something factual, Jonathan.
To be fair, the numbers are not good. The numbers has to come down. For obviously, it makes no sense that people are coming that way, where there's obviously like a legal route to actually come into this country, applying for a visa, applying for any form of visas. That should be the way. At the end of the day, it should always go down. That's not a horrible argument. I think anyone can agree that people shouldn't be coming through these means. Anyone can agree on that. But this idea that they're coming, they're committing crime, they're living an amazing lifestyle, and it's just not the case.
You might not be about the £81 per night. In fact, Nina, I am factual about it because I remember when I was one of the first MPs in the House of Commons to stand up and name and shame a hotel, the North Stafford Hotel, which is run by the Britannia chain, opposite the railway station. I remember the next day headlines being, "Oh, this is disgraceful to name hotels. It's an utter shame that put the danger of migrants at risk." What about the fact that Baroness Casey's audit has said that more and more child rape gangs are filled by illegal migrants committing these crimes? What about the 14-month pathetic sentence that a 27-year-old Eritrean illegal migrant did after assaulting a 19-year-old girl with special education needs? What about the fact that 34% of all sexual... I'm not shouting. It's a pathetic attempt to try and get some victim mentality.
It's not a pathetic attempt.
It's true.
You are shouting.
34% of sexual convictions in this country are committed
by
foreign nationals when actually they make up 11% of the population.
It's not a good look,
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Danger. No, again, this is some pathetic attempt to try and make out that I've been unfair and cruel to you and you're a victim of something when actually I'm
not saying that. I'm not saying that. My ears are sore, that's all.
Being taken advantage of.
I will say that the people watching through these cameras now will be cheering you on, Jonathan. Well said, thank you very much.
And there will be lots of people who are sitting there saying two guys shouting at one woman.
This is exactly what you wanted to frame it as, and it's boring and it's predictable.
I'm not framing anything. I'm pointing out the truth.
Let's not veer into the realms of the personal on this, because there's a very serious matter.
I'll tell you what is a really bad look for the rest of the world, for us, for the rest of the world, that tourists from different countries are coming here thinking they're coming here for a nice holiday or a trip. And they cannot get in their hotel because we have got foreign immigrants in that hotel.
Bro, come on, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. Where's that happening? Which tourist is coming to this country and seeing asylum seekers and saying, "Oh my God, this country is so bad"? That's not happening, bro.
There are no foreign immigrants. There are no foreign immigrants in that hotel. There are none.
What are they then?
So what are they going to be then?
Are you making the point that they're going
to be?
Right.
But,
so
but they are not foreign.
But what have they? Okay,
you
Nina,
just said.
Why have they shut it, Nina?
I have no idea. We don't know that yet.
Well,
but you said there were foreign immigrants in the hotel, and they are not. That was a lie.
Okay. All right. Well, look, we've got a Home Office spokesperson said that the government was, quote, making strong strides to deliver a more sustainable and cost-effective asylum accommodation system. This includes ending the use of hotels, testing new locally led models, and working closely with local authorities and other departments to ensure a fairer, more efficient approach. Our use of any property or Home Office owned site will be used in line with the permissions set by planning permissions. Right, well.
I mean, at the end of the day, these people are never going to be satisfied with any ways to actually carry out. The only thing that can actually bring both sides to actually agree, it seems like, would actually be ending this asylum seeking process, right? No one should come over the boat. No one should come through an asylum seeking process. That seems to be the only way. But how do you get it? The Labour Party is failing emphatically on that right now. The numbers just keep growing and growing and growing. And that's not good. It shouldn't be the case at all. You should always have to come to this country, unless obviously you're actually fleeing a war country. You should actually have to come to this country by legal route. Legal means applying for any form of visa. That's not a bad argument, and I think everyone would agree to that. But what do you think? You can put it down in the comments below, and also drop a like on the video and subscribe.